Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The mystery of Dante and Lulu, Carly's plan for Brennan and Jason's Brit push. According to a General Hospital spoiler update, Carly Spencer offers a suggestion for Jack Brennan to think about, and Dante Falconeri and Lulu Spencer will be involved in a mystery. Here's what fans should anticipate from Jason Morgan's upcoming push in Britt Westbourne's direction. To begin with, Curtis Ashford will thank Jordan Ashford and perhaps give her credit for saving his marriage. Curtis has chosen to be a little more understanding and make an effort to mend things with Portia Robinson because he didn't want to repeat the mistakes he made with Jordan. In their private conversation, Drew Kane will also ask Elizabeth Baldwin whether she would be prepared to speak favorably of him with Willow Tate. Liz would contend that Willow must make her own decisions and let Drew know how deeply he wounded her. Nevertheless, Drew will insist that Elizabeth see things his way and won't believe Willow is better off without him. Drew is unlikely to give up on getting Willow and her children back together anytime soon, so he will keep trying. That might be the greatest way for Drew to persuade Willow that they still belong together. Anna Devane, on the other hand, is going to have a busy day. Carly could question what else Anna wants to tell her about Jocelyn Jacks after Anna interrupts her talk with Brennan. Anna was well briefed and might potentially be charged with treason if she jeopardizes the operation after Brennan abducted her to stop her from blabbering. Anna will therefore need to exercise caution in what she says to Carly during their interactions. Since Carly is going to make a proposal to Brennan, she will be more interested in talking about a fresh pitch anyhow. Carly may strengthen her relationship with Brennan before their impending confrontation because it's likely that her idea will contain anything romantic. Jason will receive some concerning updates from Alexis Davis in the meanwhile. Drew wants to move to Washington, D.C., to live with Scout Kane, and has already made preparations to accompany her to tour a few of the local schools. When it comes to prioritizing Scout's needs, Alexis will vent to Jason on the program and look for support. Given how much Scout still misses Sam McCall, it is obvious that she deserves to remain in Port Charles and be with her family. Jason would concur and acknowledge that Danny Morgan would be devastated if his younger sister relocated so far away. However, Jason would argue that when it comes to raising his own child, Drew is in charge. Jason might bring up the fact that Drew is unlikely to ever listen to his thoughts on Scout or anything else. Dante and Lulu will be called to Laura Collins' office and will show there. Since Lulu and Dante won't understand why Laura wanted to see them, there will be a mystery for them to solve. Dante and Lulu will be shocked by the GH episode, which will make them upset about a significant revelation. Liesl Albrecht might go too far with Rocco Falconeri and cause his parents to become enraged again. Anna will meet with Jason to discuss her perspective. Anna might change her mind, even if she previously advised Jason to back off and refrain from demonstrating Britt's survival. Since the Five Poppies Resort is located in the same area as the most recent WSB mission in Dalmatia, which Brennan revealed, Anna must be wondering if Britt is involved. Will Anna hint at such to Jason and encourage him to do his own research in Dalmatia? Britt will not comply with any further directives at the resort until her demands are fulfilled. Britt will forego her duties while she waits for her release because she wants to be allowed to leave the property and have fun. According to General Hospital spoilers, Pascal may face additional drama when he informs the boss about Britt's strike. General Hospital spoilers, Tracy and Martin work together to reveal Monica's letter's secret. According to General Hospital spoilers, Martin Gray discovered some shocking information about Monica Quartermaine after discovering a cryptic letter of hers. Other than the fact that it dealt with her background, I still don't know a lot about what the letter mentioned. Martin recently discussed Monica with Yuri Tamashevich. Martin might eventually bring up the letter with Tracy Quartermaine, who would then question what Monica is concealing. She had a sister, Martin would tell her. After learning about the letter from Martin, Tracy Quartermaine makes a commitment to find out who wrote it to Monica and whether or not she is actually her sister. Martin would inform Tracy that Monica is adopted, and he would express his desire to assist her in discovering the truth. With great reluctance, Tracy would tell Martin that she would handle things and that he shouldn't worry about this. Tracy Quartermaine is persuaded to allow Martin Gray to assist since, as an attorney, Martin may be able to learn details about Monica's past that Tracy is unable to. Martin would explain to Tracy that he is participating since he found the letter and that they should put their differences aside and cooperate to determine whether this individual is actually Monica's sister and to find out where they are. Tracy might grudgingly consent to allow Martin to assist her in solving this after some persuasion. Martin Gray locates Monica Quartermain's sister. Martin locates Monica's sister using the letter's hints and further information Tracy finds. Tracy informs him that she will see her and ask Monica what she desires. Tracy wouldn't allow Martin accompany her, even if he wanted to. In the end, Tracy would steal the Quartermain plane as Martin snuck away. Martin and Tracy are currently on their way to meet Monica's sister. Martin Gray and Tracy Quartermain meet Monica's sister. Tracy is upset to see Martin on the plane but grudgingly lets him visit Monica's sister. Martin would say that he started this and plans to see it through to completion. At last, Tracy and Martin reach Monica's sister's house and meet her in person. Is this the new role that Erica Slezak from One Life to Live is playing? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Will Martin share the letter he found with Tracy, in your opinion? Will Tracy and Martin collaborate to locate Monica's sister? Will they be able to set aside their disagreements? 3-story shockers in General Hospital spoilers. Head writers reveal what will happen to Jason, Britt, and others next. Let's discuss what to expect on the ABC soap opera General Hospital, as spoilers indicate that 3 major shockers are on the horizon. Here are the thoughts of GH co-head writers Chris Van Etten and Elizabeth Corte, who spoke with SOD about the future of Britt Westbourne, Jason Morgan, and other characters. 1. Huge Faison survival indication. To begin, Van Etten and Corte provided a significant suggestion that Caesar Faison may still be alive and play a role in Britt's comeback plot, which aligns with clues that viewers have also seen on screen. Although bringing characters back from the dead can be challenging, Corte and Van Etten noted that some soap opera elements can help make it work. The fact that Britt is the child of 2 legendary parents is advantageous. The co-head scribes taunted, Faison and Albrecht, Kathleen Gotti, exist in that soap opera space where anything is possible. 2. The repercussions of Brooke Lynn's error are far more severe. Elizabeth Corte and Chris Van Etten also talked about how they set up Britt's return, which included Rocco Falconeri learning how he was born. Because of Brooke Lynn Quartermain's mistake, Rocco was able to learn more about the stolen embryo situation and developed a stronger bond with Liesl. The repercussions will be even worse than Brooke Lynn could have predicted now that she has revealed the truth about Britt and how she gave birth to Ben, also known as Rocco. Even though Lulu Spencer is already upset with Brooke Lynn, she will only get more so with time. Van Etten and Corte pledged that Brooke Lynn has set off a series of events that will spiral out of her and Lulu's control and be felt across the canvas. 3. Jason endangers someone else by searching for Britt. Additionally, Chris Van Etten and Elizabeth Corte alluded to the possibility that Jason may cause some risky drama by pursuing Britt. Jason thought about abandoning Britt and embracing her choice to stage her death, but his change of heart would cause mayhem. Van Etten and Corte stated that Jason is unaware that confronting Britt could endanger other individuals, especially someone close to him. Naturally, it makes likely that the individual will be Jocelyn Jacks, Jason's close friend and Carly Spencer's daughter. There will be twice as much problems at the Five Poppies because Jocelyn is preparing for a mission at the same resort where Britt is vacationing. According to General Hospital spoilers, there will be a lot more surprises like this, so keep checking back for all the exciting news and incredible reunions. Jason wasn't sure whether his intuition was failing him once more when he stood on the rooftop of that warehouse in Budapest, listening to the distant hum of an old cargo jet rattling against the sky. He'd seen Britt. Not a recollection. Not a clone. Not a phantom. She wore her hair pinned back as she normally did when she was concentrated. Her face was alert but preoccupied. Then, just like she had all those months before, she disappeared into the shadow of the plane as it lifted off. It was illogical. When her Huntington's symptoms reached a terrible high, he had cradled her in his arms the night she collapsed, shivering and seizing, her hands quivering violently. They had claimed that she passed away soon after, and Jason had accepted and lamented this. Now, however, something wasn't adding up, with Liesl's increasingly snarky attitude, courier data jumbled, and Dalton's name reverberating across WSB files. No more. Jason pushed harder back in Port Charles. Talking to Liesl was like climbing a cliff in the dark every time. She avoided, brushed it off, and even shed a tear or two, but she never responded. Nevertheless, there was a sense of a truth too heavy to speak in her reluctance. Across the Atlantic, in a confined sub-basement of the genetics wing at Port Charles University, Professor Henry Dalton was visibly irritated as he adjusted his latex gloves. His Rat27X tissue sample was not reacting as it should have under his microscope. The formula was incorrect. The rate of degradation was rising, and the changes weren't stabilizing. Behind him, a door hissed. From the shadowed doorway, a voice said, "She won't like this." Dalton didn't raise his gaze. "She will comprehend. Trial and error is the method. Surely it must be." The figure moved forward. Tucked behind one ear is blonde hair. Her left hand tightened into a fist at the slightest shake. Britt remarked, "She doesn't have time for mistakes." At last, Dalton turned and put the slide down. "You look good," she said with a sour laugh. "I feel like hell." Off-grid and surgically removed from every system the WSB could access, Britt had lived like a ghost ever since she staged her death. With ruthless accuracy, Liesl had planned the body swap, faking cremation certificates, paying coroners, and switching medical records. Britt had hardly gone voluntarily. Her illness had progressed quickly, and her future was becoming less and less clear. Dalton, however, had contacted her with a potential she couldn't overlook. A cutting-edge gene editing prototype that targets the mutant Huntington gene was constructed using modified CRISPR-Cas9 systems. It wasn't accepted. It was against the law. In primates, it had not worked. Additionally, it needed a human subject who had no other options and a dying wish. Britt had offered her services. The initial treatment had resulted in a temporary stabilization of her symptoms. The shaking subsided. The cloud of cognition cleared. Then the adverse consequences appeared. Pain. Memory errors. An odd sensitivity to light and sound. Nevertheless, she continued. Because she wasn't the only one involved. There was something unsettling in Dalton's findings. Unaccounted for, strewn over international birth registries marked by health abnormalities, the same faulty allele in her family line had started to appear in a new generation. Britt had a hunch that something sinister was involved. She wasn't simply afflicted with an illness from Faison. It was probably something he had tried before he passed away. She was furious at the thought that other victims might carry on her father's heritage. None of this was known to Jason. Not quite yet. However, he was drawing nearer. He followed the courier who had brought Dalton's parcel to a Zurich biotech facility. Biosamples marked as dangerous were included in the manifest. The track led to a facility run by a research shell connected to the WSB, which was recently closed due to experimental protocol violations. Jason's fists tensed as he gazed at the closed door. Finding people, even dead ones, was nothing new to him. However, this seemed unique. Instead of leaving a trail of breadcrumbs, Britt left smoke and barriers. She wished to avoid being discovered. But he had to understand why. After her third run-in with Jason, Liesl snapped. She gave him Dalton but withheld names. That was sufficient. The same trail was now being breathed by the WSB. Jason was at best a day behind Jack Brennan, who was methodical and cold-eyed. Britt was only valuable to him as leverage and a wild card, not as a daughter or friend. She was a living medical anomaly if she had received Dalton's treatment and outlived every other subject. A reward. A threat, perhaps. In the meantime, Britt had begun to doubt Dalton's efforts. The data wasn't hers, but one night she broke into his encrypted files and discovered a second collection of patient records, locked, buried, and coded under the alias Subject Theta. Someone else, a younger person, owned it. Children had been used to test the treatment. The following morning, she approached him. Demanded answers and yelled at him. He informed her that all of the donors had been terminal, orphaned, or voluntary. She didn't think he was real. She murmured, her eyes wild with treachery, "We were supposed to be fighting this." He yelled, "I am fighting it. I am not spreading it. We win this way." Do you really believe that cures are risk-free? She came close to hitting him. She was only stopped by the tremble in her arm. 2 days later, Jason located her. She was packing a small case with data discs, treatment vials, and a few notebooks when he came. When he crossed the threshold into the lab, she froze. "Jason," she said in a whisper. He remarked in a low voice. "You're not supposed to be here." "Neither are you." Neither of them moved for a moment. She then grabbed her case. "You don't have to explain." "I don't have time to explain. I know enough already." He took a step forward. "Dalton poses a threat. You don't want to acknowledge how sick you are. If the WSB discovers you first, they will hide it, so whatever you're doing here, you should go immediately," she said. "They're on their way. The intercept logs are visible to me. Brennan has been diverted to Port Charles already." She chuckled softly and said, "Let me help you if he knows I'm alive." Jason refused to back down, saying, "You've done enough already." That evening, he remained by her side, assisting her in downloading what she could and destroying the remainder. She informed him about the second wave of the disease that was waiting in the shadows, the new gene traces, and the children that carried Faison's mark in their blood. Saving herself was no longer the only concern. It was about putting an end to what her father had begun. Thanks to Liesl's encrypted tip, they managed to escape before Brennan arrived, by only a few minutes. The mayhem in Port Charles was just getting started. There was a partial shutdown by the WSB. Dalton vanished. Britt had returned to hiding, this time nearer to her house. Jason was aware of their short time. He was aware that this was more than just a treatment, though. It was a reckoning. Britt was still alive. She wasn't finished battling either. There is some unresolved business. According to spoilers, Carly presents Brennan with an idea. When Anna interrupts and says, "We have some unfinished business," he won't be pleased. Is she speaking to Carly or to Brennan, the man who had her briefly abducted so she couldn't talk to Carly? At the mayor's office, Lulu and Dante cross paths. "Why the mystery? For what reason does she wish to visit us?" Lulu queries Dante. Whatever Laura says, it might not sit well with them. Could her news be the reason why Dante and Lulu are so angry? In their peaceful time together, Curtis tells Jordan about all that has been going on in his life. She knew full well that Drew was doing everything he could to ruin his and Portia's lives. He tells his ex-wife, "If it weren't for you, it wouldn't have happened at all." Making allies, Drew tries to find Elizabeth. He is aware that she is currently his closest relationship with Willow, who has been residing at Elizabeth's house since their disastrous wedding. "Are you certain Willow is doing better now?" Placing the chief nurse on the hot seat, he asks. What is she going to tell Drew? Jason hears Anna's opinions, but she's not the only one. As she talks to her ex-son-in-law about her granddaughter Scout, Alexis seems tense. "This should be about Scout's needs, right?" Jason is asked by Alexis. However, what can Jason say or do regarding his niece's situation? While lounging by the pool in her bathing suit and cap, Britt disobeys orders. She has been dispatched to be retrieved by someone who obviously doesn't know who they're dealing with. She tells the invisible lackey, "You can tell him I'm on strike." Rena Sofer of General Hospital is not out as Lois Cerullo. Despite the announcement that she is relocating to New York, Rena Sofer is still on ABC serial opera. After years away from the soap opera, Rena Sofer returned to the role of Lois Cerullo on General Hospital in October 2023. She portrayed Quinn Forrester on The Bold and the Beautiful during that period. Sofer isn't out at GH right now, despite what some people are saying. Sofer is going to be written out as Lois, according to Breaking GH News Daytime Confidential. Soap Opera Digest corrected the information, stating that Sofer is still at GH. Sofer and her husband, Sanford Bookstaver, relocated to New York City on Monday, August 4th. According to earlier reports from Serial Opera Network, Sofer was demoted to a recurring character on the ABC serial opera. Sofer did not provide an update on whether she would be leaving GH when she announced her transfer to the East Coast. As the plot requires, Sofer is expected to return to Los Angeles to film alongside other GH cast members and daytime actors. According to SOD, a person close to the actress stated, "This is no different." Willow's knees gave up as soon as she left the courtroom. Joint custody was revoked. The judge's decision reverberated in her mind like a drumbeat. Wiley and Amelia were now under Michael's complete legal guardianship. In the end, Willow had only a hollow aching where her children's laughter used to reverberate because she had fought so hard, possibly too hard, fueled by anger and betrayal. And now things had only become worse because of one careless, frantic decision regarding Daisy Gilmore's child. She didn't intend to take the baby. Not at all. In a moment when everything seemed to be slipping through her fingers, it was a spontaneous response. Daisy was nowhere to be seen, and the baby had been sobbing. All she needed was 20 minutes to hold her and feel what she had lost. But before anyone could explain, Daisy had gone into a panic, contacted the police, and left with her child. At the moment, Willow was unaware that Drew had already put everything together. Ever since the Daisy stalker rumors began to circulate, Drew had been keeping an eye on things from a distance. Notes. Glimpses. Pictures. Anonymous presents. Unusual items that nobody could fully identify. However, he had seen enough of Willow's breakdown to understand the source of the threat. Drew could have remained silent, but he was no longer feeling benevolent because she was going downhill. Not following Nina's fallout. Not after witnessing Willow gradually return to Michael. So he waited, keeping the truth close at hand. Drew intended to blow up the path between Michael and Willow if they were headed in the direction of reconciliation. Nina, meanwhile, was already preparing for the hit. She wasn't an idiot. When Drew faced Willow at Carly's house, she had noticed the change in her eyes, that glimmer of remorse concealed beneath resistance. It was the same outfit Nina had worn for years after losing Nellie, and she recognized it at once. Nina didn't want to ruin Willow, though, in contrast to Drew. She desired to protect her. Fix her. Perhaps you could even win her affection back. Nina then started making plans for the impossibly difficult. She went to Liesl first, seeking direction rather than counsel. How would things turn out if I admitted to the Daisy incident, she inquired. Claimed that I was the one. That I was the culprit. Liesl blinked in shock. Nina remarked, I'm not asking if it's smart. That would be madness. Liesl paused before responding, I'm asking if it's possible. They would require evidence. Yes, a confession would result in your arrest, but without supporting documentation, it might fall apart. Then I'll give them evidence, Nina whispered. Nina blazed a route in the days that followed. To make sure she was still being followed, she established discreet touch with Daisy, made anonymous calls, and sent one more, innocuous note. It was sufficient to garner attention, but not enough to frighten. She even left a baby sock that was just like the one in Amelia's closet on Daisy's porch. Not dangerous. A murmur. She then gave her own burner number to the police and left an anonymous tip. Drew took the next step. The tension in the room was thick enough to taste during a charity banquet at the Metro Court. Michael was standing close to the bar, his gaze continuously darting to Willow, who was silent when speaking and rigid in her position. Carly hovered close by, keeping hawk-eye on them both. Drew abruptly changed course just as he was about to take the podium to deliver a quick speech. He started, I want to talk about something personal. There has been considerable discussion, more specifically, rumors, about who has been harassing Daisy Gilmore and her child throughout the community. Although I didn't want to accept it. The truth can be unpleasant at times. Michael's eyes narrowed. What on earth is he doing? Willow turned pale. I have long enough kept this a secret. The culprit it was me. The room swiveled as Nina spoke up, her voice steady and clear. It was me. I forwarded the notes. I dropped the items off at Daisy's house. I only wanted to make a point, I didn't mean to offend anyone. I wanted Michael to know what it was like to have your child taken away. Willow froze, her mouth hanging open. Michael turned to look at Nina. You. What? Drew was taken aback and stopped in his tracks. Is that a lie? Is it? Nina looked over at him. You have evidence that I wasn't the one? Willow didn't say anything. She was scarcely able to talk, much less breathe. I've already reported myself to the authorities, Nina added. They will arrive soon to collect my statement. I will be held accountable if I have committed a crime. However, this must end. Families using trauma as a weapon and pulling each other apart. I will no longer play that game. Shortly after, the police showed up. Gently handcuffed, Nina was led out in front of the astonished audience. Rumors circulated, with some claiming it was another manipulative move and others believing it to be a selfless deed. Willow, however, was aware of the reality. As Nina escorted her away, it was evident in the way she gazed at her. Not a charge. Don't be afraid. Simply love. The consequences were immediate. Being caught in the crossfire, Drew's reaction led to his demonization. Feeling bewildered and enraged, Michael attempted to question Willow but she refused to answer. Only that she was sorry for everything, was all she told him. Apologies for her actions. I apologize for allowing this to happen. Nina was held in a holding cell for 3 nights. Behind the scenes, Liesl performed legal magic, forcing the DA's office to agree to a plea bargain that included community service, probation, and required counseling. The charges were withdrawn. However, the gesture was remembered. Willow was waiting outside the courthouse when Nina was freed. Willow remarked, I'm at a loss for words. Nina answered, you don't have to say anything. I know, Willow said, but I didn't do it for gratitude. However, I am grateful. They stood still, the void between them now filled with optimism rather than bitterness. Nina refrained from pressing. She simply gave Willow a single nod and turned to leave, allowing her to see her at her convenience. It was unclear if their relationship would ever be complete again. However, the door wasn't closed for the first time in a long time. And it was sufficient. Cody and Ava's ice cube cooldown. Emma is enraged by Anna's fire department twist. According to the General Hospital recap, Cody Bell and Ava Jerome shared an ice cube cooldown, while Emma Scorpio Drake was infuriated by Anna Devane's fire department twist. Ava invited Rick Lansing to the pool at GH, but he declined because of work, even though it seemed like he would have rather to spend more time with Elizabeth Baldwin. Cody accepted Ava's invitation by text instead, and they flirted by the pool. Cody cheerfully kept Ava company and called Rick a fool for not taking advantage of the opportunity to spend time with her. Christina Corinthos Davis received information from Alexis Davis at the Metro Court restaurant regarding her strategy to break up Rick and Ava's relationship. Christina was dubious of Ava's arrangement with Alexis and obviously felt bad for ruining Molly Lansing Davis's opportunity to date Cody. After Molly finally joined Alexis and Christina, they discussed spending more time with Scout Kane. Ava used an ice cube to cool herself down at the pool and applied one to Cody's skin as well. After spotting a private moment between Cody and Ava, Christina suggested Molly they should go to the lake instead, making up an excuse about unruly teens. Ava encouraged him to take the chance and finally kissed him, but Cody reminded her that she had smacked him the last time they attempted this. Drew Kane then found Jen Sidwell and demanded Sonny Corinthos' dirt in order to assist Willow Tate in reclaiming her children. Drew made it plain that he could make Sidwell's life difficult if he didn't get his way. Before Drew and Martin Gray met at the Metro Court, Sidwell was annoyed by Drew's threat. Although the lawyer acknowledged that there was now nothing that could be done, Drew wanted Martin to assist Willow in her fight for her children. Shortly after, Alexis asked Drew if Scout could attend the ballet and go on a Davis Girl adventure. Scout was busy that day, according to Drew, because they were going to look at schools in Washington, D.C. for the time they relocated there. Returning to Martin, Rick hired him because he needed to end his partnership with Ava, although she was unaware of it until the very last minute. Outback had been barking uncontrollably, so Anna brought her with her when she returned to the pool. That was inappropriate because Anna's apartment did not allow pets, so if someone heard and reported it, they might be evicted. Despite Anna's complaints, Emma and Giovanni Gio Palmieri persuaded her to bring Outback along to work with her. Gio voiced some suspicions by claiming to be going to the lecture with Emma. Jocelyn Jacks was concerned about Emma, Trina Robinson admitted after spending some time with her. Trina advised Emma not to accept the position as research assistant because she trusted Jocelyn's judgment on Professor Henry Hank Dalton. Anna acknowledged that she believed Emma will approach Dalton tonight after meeting with Felicia Scorpio. In light of this, Anna contacted the fire department to find out when the lecture hall in question was last inspected. Emma became irate and refused to let it stop her from taking down Dalton, even though it resulted in the lecture being cancelled. Brooklyn Quartermaine discussed all of the Rocco Falconeri issues with Sonny at the Quartermaine mansion. Additionally, Sonny was informed that he was safe because deception was not presenting the proof to the police. Even though Jordan Ashford had not yet discovered evidence of Sidwell's illicit activities, she had a suspicion that he was involved in some shady dealings with Marco Rios and discussed this suspicion with Laura Collins. Laura appeared worried about the dangers she would be taking, but Jordan knew she needed to go deeper and demonstrate her reliability. Later, when Mabel, the HOA president, arrived, Anna took Outback to her appointment with Laura and concealed her in the corner of the sofa. Laura's meeting with the criminal herself infuriated Mabel, who was there to report a crime. When Mabel played a clip of Outback, Anna pretended to be innocent despite all the dog barking. Outback took notice of that as well since she responded by barking and alerted Mabel to her presence. Laura believed that Anna would have to find Outback a new home since Mabel was unrelenting. He met Jordan and Lucy Kobach with Sidwell. Sidwell became uncomfortable with Lucy's discussion about the deception meeting's outcome and her hope that Maxie Jones would remain silent regarding the buried Sonny proof. According to General Hospital teasers, Maxie will soon face more difficulties, so keep an eye out. Dante and Lulu are furious when Britt disobeys orders. Britt then disobeys directions on GH. Dante and Lulu are furious. Drew looks for Elizabeth. Britt is rarely placed in a timeout or corner in Croatia. She rebels against the unidentified man or person who is putting her under lockdown, which is not surprising. Britt disobeys commands. This might include leaving her prison, which is the lab or her home, and going into town. Or it might indicate something even more hazardous. Will this act of rebellion succeed? In the meantime, Dante and Lulu are extremely irritated with Rocco's situation. He is searching for the identity of the woman who kidnapped him and kept him for the first few months of his life. Teasers point to the ex-partners having a very dramatic breakdown. What is the reason behind Lulu and Dante's anger? Does Albrecht once more approach Rocco too closely? Talking with Anna once more, it's astonishing that Jason hasn't taken a plane to Croatia to locate Britt yet. He has a motive. He claims that although he wants to respect her decision, he shouldn't allow such justification to prevent him from getting back together with her. Watch for Jason to turn back to Anna, who shares her thoughts with him. Does she advise him to board a plane immediately? Even though she isn't allowed to speak, she might imply to him that Joss is also in Dubrovnik. Finds and pitches Brennan is keeping something very important from Carly. If she ever discovers that he enlisted her daughter for the WSB and that her most recent duty is conducting recon in Croatia, he is aware of the trouble that will ensue. His relationship with Carly is going really well despite everything else. Although they don't get to see each other very often, they get along well when they do. Is Carly's clever idea intended to strengthen her relationship with Brennan when she presents it to him? The congressman has been rushing around town attempting to mend things for Willow that he has no business fixing ever since Drew and Willow's wedding went up in flames. What is Drew attempting to accomplish for Willow this time when he goes looking for Elizabeth? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.